Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a very special live edition of Wrestling with the Future. I'm your host, Mad Dog DeCipio. Let me introduce the man who makes things happen around here. He's my producer. He's the guy that wants to be known as the hostess with the mostest, but he can't because he's a guy. He's not the hostess with nothing. He's jamming Jake Hudson. Jake, how are you, my little brother?
What is up? We're gonna have a great show today. We're gonna have one.
Bet your ass we are. Today. Absolutely. We got Jimmy Phillips with us tonight. We got Amelia Chapman with us tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Gino Hernandez, a little baseball, a little wrestling, maybe a little bit of bocce ball. I got some things I'm going to talk about. I happen to be, just in case you guys don't know, I'm the unofficial, uncrowned bocce ball champion of the world. Okay.
All right.
Anybody else that tells you anything else is lying. I am the true. I'm the article. I'm the genuine article. I'm not a mere facsimile thereof.
All right.
So let's talk to my friend Jam and Jake. Jake, what do you know about Jimmy Phillips tonight, my friend? What do you know about Jimmy?
A little bit of nothing.
Oh, there you go.
A little bit of nothing.
Hey,
it's okay. I'm used to it.
Let me tell everybody about Jimmy. Jimmy Phillips is a retired minor league baseball player. He had a shot I believe he had a shot in the majors for the Philadelphia Phillies. Played for the Philadelphia Phillies farm team in Virginia. I believe that was. Oh my God, Jimmy! I already drew a brain fart.
88 and 89.
Yes, sir. There you go. I knew, and that the farm club in Virginia. That was
Martinsville.
Martinsville. I knew there were a couple of places, the Pittsfield, places like that. And so let's talk a little bit about baseball, a little wrestling. Jimmy, how did you get started? Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get anywhere further, let me introduce a young lady who is, I believe I want to refer to her as the world's unofficial expert on Gino Hernandez. In fact, she loves Gino so much, she named her dog Gino. This is Amelia Chapman.
Hi, everyone.
Amelia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. We're going to talk a little bit about everything tonight and a lot about Gino. So, Jimmy Phillips, my friend, you and I are introduced to each other on the phone the other night. You got a fascinating life, fascinating career. Tell everybody about your journey into athletics. My understanding is you were a college draft for the Philadelphia Phillies. Is that right?
Well, I wasn't drafted. I signed as a free agent. I had a lot of interest coming out of high school, college, and then I hurt my back when I was 21. Had to have my back operated on. I had 2 bulging discs, severe nerve damage on my right side, and I probably came back too early. But like I was telling you the other night, that window for a chance, an opportunity, was getting smaller and smaller. So I just worked my butt off to come back, and I transferred from the University of Arkansas to Dallas Baptist University. Had a really good year, made all conference, all world in the World Series. And I was lucky enough that somebody took a chance on me, and it was the Phillies. Yeah. And I don't have any regrets.
Brother.
I hit the ball real good. You know, my thing was I had a good line drive swing. If you made a mistake on me, I could hit it out of the park. After I got hurt, if you made the same mistake, it was just a base hit. So
somebody told me that the Jimmy Phillips had a hell of an arm too.
Well, I grew up pitching a lot, and I wasn't a bad pitcher. I did pretty good.
Yeah.
But you know, I just loved hitting so much that you know, my dad, he was a coach and just the greatest influence anybody could ever have, you know, as a dad. And you know, he really didn't have to push me because I love baseball so much.
Yeah.
But I was lucky that he played, and he taught me a lot of stuff, and I was a big kid. And so, you know, I was a good baseball player.
Fabulous. I got a question now. I heard a lot about your baseball career. You're a guy that you worked your way through the farm league. You worked your way into to various clubs. My understanding is even a farm club of the Chicago Cubs. Tell me a little bit. How did you end up playing for the farm league of the Chicago Cubs?
No, I never played for Chicago.
Oh,
that must
so
have been somebody else.
Wrong.
Yeah, I never played the Chicago Cubs.
Green room. We got a guest in the green room.
Oh, we got a guest. Karen Phillips. Who is Karen Phillips?
That is my wife.
Oh, well, hello, Karen Phillips.
Hey.
How are you, young lady?
I'm good. How are you?
You are a surprise to the show tonight. I didn't expect two Phillipses tonight.
Well, I didn't know what the link was, so I just gave her my link because I knew she'd want to be listening.
Oh God,
I'd have been in trouble if she wouldn't have got to listen.
Kind of good that Karen is here. I can now I'm going to pry a little bit.
Oh no.
How long have you and Two-Step Phillips been together?
Well, we've been married 9 years, but we've been together since 5th and 6th grade.
Okay, you got to tell me that story.
That's too long.
Oh, we got time. Trust me.
No.
Oh man. So
I'll tell you the story.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
I'll tell you the story. Her brother played baseball for my dad.
Gotcha.
And we met at the ballpark.
Yeah, okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
that's a simple story. I like it.
Yeah, and she was my first girlfriend, and we dated off and on.
I love it.
And
well, I'll tell you what.
I'm sorry?
I'll tell you what, my brother. You did well. Karen, I am going to have to say goodbye to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, take care, and perhaps another time on part 2, maybe I could pry maybe a little further.
Can you tell her the link so she can at least listen?
Yeah. I will go right on the Facebook to Wrestling with the Future.
Okay.
Just type in Wrestling with the Future podcast. It'll take you right to us.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye, y'all.
Yes, ma'am. Take care.
Sorry about that.
I couldn't ask for a better wife. I tell you, she put up with a lot of crap when she was younger from me.
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
And
being an athlete, that is no surprise.
Yeah, being an athlete, and when I was ready to settle down with it, she turned me down 2 or 3 times. So, but anyway, I got lucky.
Very smart lady. So Jimmy, let's talk about the transition from baseball to wrestling. I know that your first love was baseball. Why would you want to walk away from something you love so much for the unpredictable, unstable world of pro wrestling? It's not, it's not, in some people's opinions, not the smartest move one could make.
Well, I loved wrestling as a kid. I mean, I watched it all the time. We got Mid-South and we got World Class, and I was there every Saturday, Sunday morning, Saturday night. I watched it every time it came on. I was there. And I just loved it. And when I got through playing, I got hurt again. So I got released because of my back. And I just didn't want to have any regrets. So I tried it. I had a friend named Brian Elmore. He went in as Brian Henning. He wrestled. And I said, hey, man, I think I want to try this. So he worked me out a couple times, and he told me, he said, I want you to go to the Sportatorium with me, and I want you to be trained the right way. And
I want to show people some photos as we're talking about your career in baseball and wrestling. Jake, bring up some of those photos of Jimmy.
All right. Well, here's one.
You know, I want people to see them. Bring us into the box.
Do you realize that you didn't give me the photos ahead of time so I could have did the screen share?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You got them now.
I was having some technical difficulties, so I'm back now. So sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
I think that is. I can just see part of it, but I think that's in Global at the Sportatorium on TV against Chaz Taylor.
It is indeed.
It was a super nice guy as well, and
it is indeed.
We had a good program going, and I wish it could have went a little bit further, but you know, sometimes politics gets involved.
Yeah,
and that's when later on that is Dr. X. And
tell me about the Dr. X character. I heard a couple stories about how this character came to be.
Well, for me, the Dr. X that I got intrigued about was a Mexican luchador. He was a college graduate, super nice guy. Wasn't real big, but a very, very good worker, and everybody liked him. One night coming out of the arena, he went to a party.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was just an innocent party. You know, it wasn't, you know. Well, he saw a female getting beat up. He broke up the fight, and the guy walked up behind him and shot him in the head.
Oh, my God.
Oh, geez. There's a story. Holy shit.
Yeah. And so just kind of his story and the person he was, just kind of intrigued me, and so I just kind of wanted to carry that on. And plus, I was getting a little bit older.
Yeah,
you know, I didn't have the long hair anymore, and I kind of just felt like, you know, hey, if I cut my hair too short, people are going to think I'm too old, and yada yada yada.
Yeah,
and which really is not the case, but that's the perception that goes through your mind.
Sure.
And so, and plus, it was just a good fitting right then. And so it's kind of just a tribute to him.
Terrific. So let's talk a little bit about, I know you worked for WCW. I know you worked for some of the larger indies around the country, but you did eventually make your way to WCW. How did that transition occur? And where did you come from to get to WCW?
Well, that I never worked for them. I never had an ambition.
Well, that's interesting because that's in your bio as well.
See, I don't know where people get some of this stuff because.
Well, that's why we're here to straighten out the.
You know, a lot of people
bullshit.
You know, for some reason, there's a lot of people. Guys that are in the business, out of the business, they tell you a bunch of bull crap, and I just don't see the point in it.
Brother, we hear it every week.
Yeah, you know, and somebody asked me how it was working in Puerto Rico, and I said, I don't know. I never went. I'd like to have gone. Right. My thing is, I wanted to go to Japan because Japan was the toughest and the roughest at the time.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, when you get as an athlete, you just kind of want to see where you stand with people.
Sure.
And it wasn't about beating anybody up. It wasn't, you know, it's we know what's going to happen, but it's still competition. And I'm still competitive to this day. You know, I coach high school baseball and, you know, and I coach and I teach these kids to win every day. But I got lucky. We were on a house show, a global house show. Somebody did not show up. Mm-hmm. And the promoter, Gray Pearson, wanted me to take this guy's place that didn't show up.
Yeah.
And so I was a babyface that night. And the heel, he starts dancing. Well, I could dance. So I started dancing. And
I know.
And the crowd kind of got on my side, you know, and real quick. And he liked that. And so he kind of put me in a heel character. And I just I just flew with it.
Well, I knew you were
I'm a lot better heel than I am babyface.
I knew that you were a bit of a dancer. That's why I don't know if you caught that with your wife was here. I called you two-step Phillips.
Yeah.
They tell me that Jimmy Phillips could cut a rug pretty well.
Oh, it wasn't too bad.
And pretty good at the Cotton Eye Joe, as a matter of fact.
No, I couldn't do that.
One of the things you mentioned that you were a fan of wrestling as a kid. Your favorite wrestler was a guy named Gino Hernandez.
Oh man, he was the best. I have a
young lady here. Oh, yeah. This woman is she's a veritable encyclopedia on Gino.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So
I can remember the first time. I can remember the first time I saw Gino on TV, and it wasn't even world class then. He was just coming in. He was young, and one reason why I liked him, his hair wasn't too long.
No.
And he had red trunks, red boots, and he called himself the handsome half breed.
That's right.
Red was his favorite color.
Yep, and I'm part Indian, so I started using that. And so, he was just so smooth and methodical, and everything he did meant something. It just, the way he walked, the way he dressed to the ring, walked to the ring, walked out of the ring, you just kept your eyes on him. And that's who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Well, people don't understand that back in the day, it was far more shoot than people realize.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't understand what a shoot means real.
Yes.
It means they weren't playing.
No.
Far more shoot than people realize. And Gino was quite the shooter back in his young days.
Angelo, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm not hearing you too well.
Oh, can you hear me, Jake?
It's kind of.
I can hear you.
It sounds like you're on a synthesizer.
Amelia, can you hear me?
Yes.
Now that's good.
Okay. Hey, we got Herb Simmons in the chat. Herb Simmons is in the chat.
Okay, Herb Simmons is here. Hey, Herb, how are you guys?
We've had Herb on the
guest on the show. Last week?
Actually, last week was Wahoo's widow.
Oh, that's right. Herb was before Wahoo. That's right.
Yeah.
Karen McDaniel was here last week. That's why I got Jake here to keep me straight, because I can't keep things straight right now.
The thing is, it's
well, here's where I'm getting at. Yeah. I wanted to talk about Gino a little bit because first of all, Jimmy Phillips is only with us for a short time tonight. He is at a practice. He does have a coaching job tonight, so we're not going to keep him all night.
No.
Maybe a 20 or 30 minutes longer. Because Jimmy is coming back for part 2 of just Jimmy Phillips. So, but tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about your favorite wrestler, Gino. So, Amelia, talk to me a little bit about you right off the bat. You said red was his favorite color.
Yes.
Talk to me about what kind of impact, in so much as you can tell us, what kind of impact did Gino make, in your opinion, on the world of wrestling back in his day? And would the world of wrestling in the South be the same without him? Was his impact felt, or did it not make a difference, is what I'm getting at.
His impact made a big difference. I mean, the girls wanted to be with him. The guys wanted to be him. And as a matter of fact, his anniversary of his death is this month, actually. The 31st is the anniversary of his death, actually, coming up.
And that's why this is no accident. We are absolutely going to do a Gino Hernandez roundtable. We are going to honor Gino's passing on an upcoming show, but we are also doing a 5-person roundtable on the life and death and suspicious death, I might add,
Yes.
of Gino Hernandez.
Yeah. Because
I'm going to
this
do something
day,
tonight. I'm
Mhm.
going to do something tonight that I've never done.
Mhm.
I'm going to name the person who killed Gino.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you who it is in just a moment.
And
But
you
I
have a
wanna-
picture of my Yorkie, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to tell everybody that don't look for retribution because Gino's killer is he's gone. He's gone. He died a long time ago. His name was Jorge de la Pena. Jorge was a Tex-Mex drug dealer in around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He was well known back in the day. He was known to hang out at the Fritz von Erich's camps. He was known to Gary Hart, and he was known to Gino Hernandez, and Chris Adams too, by the way. Chris Adams as well. So don't look for retribution from Jorge de la Pena. You won't find it. He's not here anymore. But that's the name. If you want to know what happened to Gino Hernandez, he was killed, and drugs killed him. And Jorge de la Pena supplied those drugs. So what do you know about that, Amelia?
that's the first time I've ever heard of it. But I knew suspiciously that he would not have killed himself because they found way too much drugs in his system for it to be a suicide.
Yeah. So what do you know about that, Jimmy? You're a guy who follows this a long time.
In the fall of 1987, when I was at Dallas Baptist, there was a teammate of mine, and me and him got to be really, really good friends. His dad worked in the Dallas media. I asked him about Gino because Gino was, he was still my guy, and he covered Gino's death, and he got to see all the reports because a police captain, somebody up in the police department was his neighbor. Mm-hmm. He got to see all the reports before they mysteriously went missing.
Yeah.
And he said Gino was killed. Somebody killed that. His exact words were, somebody killed that boy. I still remember it to this day. And we were over at his house because I had to take an extra class. Well, Dallas Baptist, we went on quarters.
Mm-hmm.
So during that quarter, you had to leave, but the dorm. Okay, so I stayed over at his house. So that's why I know it was at his house, and I can remember it to this day, and everything that he said. I got real tight with Iceman, got pretty good with Chris.
Yeah.
Iceman told me that Chris was running with, not Chris, I'm sorry. Gino was involved with some bad guys, some mean dudes.
Yep.
And he said he didn't know what it was about. He didn't know. He just said there were some bad dudes and you did not want to mess with them.
Yep.
Chris never talked about that. He talked about the good about Gino. He never said a bad word about him.
Yeah.
Some people think that they had a falling out. Chris never mentioned it. Chris even told me that they were fixing to have the hottest angle on the planet.
Yep.
And it was fixing to blow up. And
well, that was the intention. That was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it was never seen to fruition because he was killed.
Yes.
That was part of the problem. You've heard, I think by now everybody knows that he didn't commit suicide.
Exactly.
Everybody knows by this point it wasn't an accident.
No.
It wasn't some surreptitious, oops, I forgot to take my medicine. It wasn't that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody went out to purposely, deliberately hurt this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why I know that?
Go ahead, Jimmy.
If you watch interviews with other wrestlers that was there, and you ask them straight up what happened,
yeah,
they don't tell you and they don't go into detail.
Nope, they won't.
because some of these people are still living.
Yes.
Yeah, but the big one ain't.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah.
And see, and I had never heard of that name.
No.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it's not true. It's just, because there's a lot of people.
It's out there. You can check it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There are people among the wrestling community. I'll mention the name Jeannie Clark. Jeannie Clark was privileged to a lot of what was going on. The problem with Jeannie Clark, and I'm going to say it publicly, I don't know the woman, but I can tell you she does have a serious credibility problem because her story changes with every interview she does. Now, Amelia, I think you know that to be the case.
She has a book that she did write. I don't know if you know about her book that she wrote.
I don't
The
care about her
Shattered
book.
Glass.
Yeah, I don't care about her book. I care about what she says in interviews because the book isn't going to change, but every interview she does change. That's the problem.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of different stories.
So what have you heard? Talk to me.
One of them where she's home and then she sees the car parked differently. And then, of course, she doesn't go check for a few days. I mean, and then I think that wouldn't you be a neighbor and go check and see why the car's parked differently?
Especially if you're friends.
Exactly. And you have a key. Why wouldn't you go check?
Wouldn't, well, that common sense. Wouldn't you want to go find out what's going on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know something? I'm not going to say that she never did go check. Maybe she did. I don't know.
She said she didn't.
But true. She does say she didn't. But guys, back then, the wrestling business was so tight.
Yeah, boy.
And so secretive.
Yes.
Even if they did know what was going on, I don't think they would have said anything.
No. Yeah.
And the reason is because Gino was a top star.
Yes, he was.
You couldn't get any hotter than he was at that time.
Yeah.
When he threw that ink in Chris's face, that just put him over the top.
That was wrestling gold, brother.
Yeah. So if, let's say it's me and I really care about Gino and we became good friends and I get involved in his business trying to help, whatever. Well, one or two things. And probably the main thing, guess what? I'm not going to have a job.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to get fired.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And, and if he was messing with bad dudes, then guess what? Might have been a story about me.
Brother,
so that's what everybody needs to understand is that, when we hear these people talking about Gino, you need to take it with a grain of salt because Gino, from my understanding, was very private.
Very, very private person.
His professional life and personal life was way two different things.
Yes.
And, I just wish people could, just because you meet somebody and you say hi, that doesn't mean you're buddies with them.
No, that's
exactly.
Not.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll applaud that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But there's a lot of people who say to be part of this business, and guys, I'm telling you, it's great.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Business, I'm not that serious.
Audio.
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm gonna have to let you go. I know you got to get back to your team. Thank you for joining us. I will. I'll reach out and we're going to bring you back for part 2. Okay, my friend.
All right, thank you guys.
Take care. Take care, Jimmy.
You too, buddy. Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
I'll kick him out.
All right. We are back. Yeah, Jimmy is. By the way, I need to tell everyone. Jimmy Phillips is a coach. He is actually at a practice tonight. He was very generous in taking some time at practice.
Right.
Do an interview with us.
So when we put back the Wrestling with the Future thing back?
Yeah, let me take that back. Let's bring our logo back.
I got it.
Go.
There you go.
Thank you, my brother.
I actually have a question for Amelia, if you don't
Yes.
mind.
Sure.
Did you know that Vice did a thing about Gino?
Yes, he did a two-parter actually.
You want to elaborate on that, Amelia?
The first one did more of like his career. The second one did a little bit more in depth of the first one and got more detailed of what they found and got more detailed and more questions. And they tried to ask more of Jake the Snake Roberts, which I could tell he was hiding a little bit more. And you could really tell, and they asked more questions. And I think a lot of people really knew more. And and they really, really were scared of what to talk about. And we're talking more about his mother.
Address something that a recent Facebook group tried to address. First of all, understand something.
Mm-hmm.
If you're under the age of 50,
there's
a very good chance you know little to nothing about Gino Hernandez.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
which is my Facebook group.
So,
yes. Mm-hmm.
These 20 and 30-year-old kids who are telling other people, older people, that they don't know what they're talking about, need to understand, well, yeah, we do. Many of us were there. Many of us knew the big players. I knew some of the key players involved. That's why I can mention a name like Jorge de la Peña.
Yes.
Because I know he's dead. And we know who killed him.
Yes.
There was other drug dealers. Okay.
Right.
Jimmy Phillips mentioned that Gino got involved with, and I quote, really bad people. He did. He got involved with really bad people. He was into them for a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah.
So, if you want your money, you're going to get it.
Absolutely.
You're going to coerce people. You're going to force people. You're going to have people do what they normally wouldn't do to come up with that money. And Gino did that. And he still owed a substantial amount of money at his death. Unfortunately, you're not going to convince a lot of people of that fact.
Yes.
Okay? Because they want to believe the narrative that it was a mystery. It wasn't a mystery, folks. Gino got involved with bad people. They killed him because he got involved with bad people. It's pretty cut and dry. There's nothing mysterious about it. Gino was a drug user. We know that. He liked his coke. He was a cokehead if he wasn't anything. But he was not a guy who shot up.
No.
He wasn't a heroin addict. He didn't do methamphetamines. He liked cocaine. Okay? And in fact, if you want to go out there and search it, you can find it. There are pictures of Gino Hernandez with his dollar bill to the coke, if you want to find it. Real pictures, not photoshops. Okay? Go look for them. They're out there.
Yep.
So, Amelia, tell me how you got involved with this whole Gino mess. And by the way, why are these groups so damn divisive?
Well, I remember I was 4 years old. My dad loved wrestling. So I remember he was taking me to wrestling since I was 4 years old. It was Southwest Championship Wrestling, would come to Odessa, Texas every other Tuesday. And ever since I could remember, I was going. And then all of a sudden, I was 8, 9 years old, and I saw this gorgeous guy named Gino Hernandez. I was like, oh my God, he's so cute. My dad's like, he's a bad guy. And I was like, I don't care. He's so cute, Daddy. Look. He would come out with, Tully Blanchard. I'm like, ooh, Tully. I don't like Tully. I like Gino. So it was like, boo, Tully, yay, Gino,
Nobody
all the time.
Tully.
Nobody did. I still to this day.
I still don't like Tully.
And he's like, oh, it's his birthday. I don't care. I like Gino. Like, and they were like giving the baby bottles, like, dude, Gino. I was like, yo, throw those bottles away. Leave my Gino alone, So ever since then, I would go just to see Gino Hernandez. He was so cute all the time. And then all of a sudden he left, and I was like, but why? I later on figured out that's probably because Tully's dad was jealous that Gino Hernandez was getting all the looks, all the credit, and he was going to be more popular than his, son. So. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he went to Dallas, and of course we couldn't get Dallas stations. I said, well, one of these days I'll figure out why, I'll see one of his matches. And then all of a sudden we started seeing that. And then he came out with baby doll, and I was like, oh my god, he's still so gorgeous,
My friend Nicola
I
Roberts.
love her. She's a sweetheart, and
She's been on the show 3 times with us here.
yeah, I love her. She's a sweetheart, and
Nice lady, real nice lady.
oh yes, very sweetheart, and I thought, you know what, she is so sweet and so cute, like for him. And it's like, yeah, you go get him, girl. The way she would defend him, and
You remember the name they used to call her back in the day?
baby doll.
Nope.
No,
Long before that.
I just
Before
know her
she
by baby
became
doll.
Baby doll.
Mm-mm.
She was introduced with Gino as Andrea the Giant.
Really? I
Yep.
just knew her by baby doll, but that was
She's a very tall lady.
Oh, okay. Because see, I just knew her by baby doll when I first
tall.
started watching it.
She's really tall.
And so I thought, oh my god, look at him, he's still cute, And then I would watch. There was a station that would, after I guess he passed away, there was a station that would started letting us see back matches from back in the day,
Yeah.
from him versus the Von Erichs and things like that. But I remember I was 12 years old when I was in high school, getting ready to go from lunch to back inside at our Crockett Junior High School, and I remember that day, and I was like, okay, something's weird, something's going on. I feel something weird. And they were like, and something said, it's okay, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, why do I have that feeling? And I was like, why do I have that feeling? And I went home, and they said, urgent, we're sorry to tell you, but Gino Hernandez was found dead. And I was like, what, wait, what? And I just started crying like crazy. Like, my first crush has died. Oh my God, and I know a lot of girls felt that.
That's funny. I'm sorry, but that's
12.
funny.
Yeah, it is. But that was my first crush.
Really?
My first crush, yes.
So what did you make of it when Gino and Tully got together and formed this diabolical twosome?
I remember when they were going for the belts, for the tag team belts, and all of a sudden I was like, why is Tully getting in the middle of the rope? Why is Tully getting in the middle of the rope? Gino's going to hit him, and Gino's going to hit him, and then he would do it. And I was like, he's doing it for a reason. He's doing it on purpose. And all of a sudden, after that, Gino left, and I was like, I bet you his dad's making him do that so they could get into a fight.
Yeah.
And I remember that one time that Gino was coming back for one time, and he was supposed to, I think he was wrestling Scott Casey for the championship belt. That's when and
he sure was. Yeah. Scott Casey.
Yes, Cowboy. And he came back, and I had like second row seats. I was ready to see Gino. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. But he didn't come because one of his daughters was sick. So he decided to stay home to be with his daughters because she was real sick. So I thought, you know what? That is a wonderful family man. And I was like, oh my God, he's a dad? I didn't know he was a dad.
There are some conflicting reports as to whether, in fact, he was a good family man.
Well, I know he has 2 daughters. There was rumors around saying that he had a son, but I don't know about that. But I do know he had 2 daughters, and there are pictures out there, as you say, you can look it up, that he did have 2 daughters. It's on Instagram,
but, and I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning the notion that some people regard that Gino was not a good family man.
Some people say that he wasn't allowed to see his children. Some people say that he was allowed. So we would never know that story until we talk to his, family about that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question then. In that regard, what do you think? What your educated opinion? What does it tell you?
I would say he would be a good family man. I think he was a good father.
Some people say he ran around at every chance he got, that he was a louse, that he was more interested in getting laid and paid than being a papa.
We'll never really know.
What do you make of that? Jake, what do you think of that, Jake?
The thing is, here's the thing. It's like, there's 3 sides of every story. His side, her side, and the truth.
Yeah.
You don't
3 sides of the story, exactly.
Yeah, because on the Dark Side of the Ring, his ex-wife said that he was a great father. So, so
interesting.
The thing is, this is the reason why I don't like these dirt sites, these wrestling dirt sites, because wrestling dirt sites they come in they don't know what they're talking about. They are just reading off of cue cards, and they're these people that don't know. They're looking at old.
Yeah. Giggle Pickle says he was no worse than Ric Flair. Well, I mean, that's saying a mouthful, though.
Oh.
What do you make of that, Jake?
I think, Ric Flair's worst. Ric Flair is some of the stories I've heard about Rick.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I've heard a few of it.
Amelia, there you go. I mean, from the voice of experience, there is there's a comparison to be made. Gino's a good-looking guy, had some money, quite a bit of money, in fact.
Oh, yeah.
One of the very few. Well, I mean, that he was one of the very few early millionaire wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
He was making $1 million a year when guys were making
definitely.
50 and 75,000. Which, by the way, was considered a lot of money.
A lot of money back then. Absolutely.
Back then, yeah.
Back then.
And Gino was 24, 25 years old, making $1 million.
Yes.
Angelo.
Yeah, Jake.
We talked last week on the Wahoo episode. We talked about how Wahoo said he would rather go wrestling than play baseball.
Football. Yeah. I mean that there's money to be made in wrestling.
He was making more money. Wahoo was making more money in wrestling than he was making playing football.
Amelia, how did you find out that Gino died?
It was off of a radio station. They had they have like a noon time or newscast in the middle of songs or something. They do like a I guess it was 30 minutes in between or something like that. Okay. They announced it like back in Texas. They have a.
And so what were your initial immediate thoughts on that?
I thought they were just kidding. And I'm like, they got to be kidding. And then I called the radio station. I said, are you kidding me? Because I had direct lines that you can call to request songs back then. And it's like, no, it's the truth. I was like, no. And I was like, oh. And then my mom's like, you got to go get your dad. I was like, I don't want to go nowhere, And my mom's like, yeah, we got to go. And I was like, I cannot believe this. And then later on, how they had like the Paul Harvey kind of things. And,
oh, God. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
before that, they announced the news again, and they announced that it was world news because of the way they found him.
Sure was. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my gosh. And then, of course, that we were able to see World Class Championship Wrestling. They finally let us, we got that channel.
Yeah.
And that's when they announced it that, they did a tribute that he passed away. And they did announce it that night on the news.
A lot of people at the time, that they thought it was just another wrestling angle.
Yeah, they did.
Because wrestling is it's a big work, and you can't take it serious, and they're just playing around. Yeah. But no, it was a real deal. It was a news breaking story at the time. That was a major headlines.
Major headlines.
Murder was mentioned almost immediately. Police said that he was killed. Somebody killed this kid.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. Jake, what do you know about that? When did you find out Gino Hernandez?
Actually, here's the thing. That was a little before my time.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting you're only 20. He's only 28. I keep because he's so smart with wrestling. Sometimes I forget he's just a kid.
But
a mere pup. My Jake is a mere pup.
Pesci says great show tonight. Pesci says great show tonight.
Great job. We're gonna have Pesci on the show too, by the way. Yeah. He's a character. Pesci's a character. I love Pesci.
I do shows with him all the time, and he's a little character.
Yeah, we'll have him on. Thank you, Pesci, for a great show tonight. So let's talk about that a little bit. So there are groups, a lot of groups dedicated to understanding, solving, trying to play, armchair detective here. What happened to Gino? You know, the I Love Gino groups, the Gino Forever group, the
Yes.
Gino and
That's my
Chris
group. That's one of
That's
our
your
groups.
group.
Yes.
That's why I mentioned it.
Thank you. Yeah, Courtney would love that. See, shout out to Courtney. Hey.
So here's the thing then. What do you do? I mean, history is what it is. You're not going to change it.
No, we
What
just want
about
to
these
do a
people
tribute
who were
to him.
clearly, Amelia, clearly too young to have even, you know, people like Jake that were too young to be alive at the time. You know, how do you reconcile the age difference with the so-called knowledge or misinformation? In my case, is what I refer to it, because none of them are right.
No, we just, we just have to make them understand. Say, look, you weren't around, like you were saying, at that time, and I apologize for the one that was arguing with you before. And
don't worry about that.
And they just got to understand that.
I look at it this way, Amelia. Who has the show?
What you do, but it's just they just have to understand that we were around in that era. We knew what was going on. We knew what was real, what was fake, and we knew what was going on. And I understand that that's their hero or what, at that time. But, you want to look up to that person, but you got to understand that, that's your hero. But you have to understand both sides of the coin. There's two sides of the coin. We understand. We saw what was going on. We knew what was going on, even though I might have been 12 at the time, but I understand what's going on. I can hear things and I can see things, and I'm going to believe because I saw that, I heard that, I knew what was going on at the time, and later on, as I got older, I was like, oh my gosh, I was able to do the research. Yes, that is what was going on because I did see what was going on. Yep, but that's still my hero. I'm not going to argue with adults because I can see for myself that was true.
Well, when you do your research,
exactly.
Let's talk about this because that's a very interesting thing, and I'm glad you mentioned that. When you do your research, can you really objectively cipher through information, or are your emotions swayed or skewed in some way?
No, I do my research, and I still, no matter what.
I'm saying, like, is it hard for you to be objective?
Oh, it's, if I do my research, I'm still gonna even if I do my research and I find out, okay, well, he's still a bad guy, he did this, it's still not going to stop me from caring about the person because he's still my first crush. I understand that's what he did, but if I would have known back then that he was doing that, I would have done everything I could to say, hey, you need help, let's see what we could do to get you out of this. But
well, it's interesting that you say that, Amelia, because now with social media and Facebook and Twitter and you literally have direct access to your celebrities and heroes. I mean, and they respond to you.
Some of them does.
Well, yeah, for the most part, they do, though, Jake, and you know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing, though, and then you might want to. Maybe I'll ask you this question: do you think Gino Hernandez would have survived the social age?
Oh, definitely.
Do you think he could have made it with
definitely
this media scrutiny of today?
Oh, definitely. I think that would have helped him, I think, a lot more. And imagine all the selfies he would have taken. His Facebook would have been full of selfies, and you never know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true enough.
He'd have had a Facebook page. He would have had his own celebrity page.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it, Jake?
Yeah. So funny is, by the way, some of the Wikipedia pages get it wrong all the time. Some of the Wikipedia pages, you go and look someone up, and like in, I think on the Miranda Gordy episode, I was somebody, which was right here, put a name, didn't tell me to look up Kenny Valiant, Kate Clayton. And I was like, we're having a British person to find out the guy's in.
You want me to do your homework for you too? What?
Because here's the thing, you didn't give me the right name. Gosh.
Do you understand that I have to sit here and look good and sound intelligent and ask questions that mean questions with meat to them? And you
World champion.
I'm going to hit you with that belt, okay?
One of the best title belts right here.
But no, it's very interesting, though. It's a really interesting subject. But what fascinates me, I think, today is that there are probably just off the top of my head from the groups and pages I've seen, well over 50 pages dedicated to Gino Hernandez, Chris Adams, both of them or one or both of them.
Yeah.
You know?
By the way, I did put a link in the chat for the Facebook group if you want to join the rest.
Oh, that's beautiful. By the way, I want everybody to know that we are here every Thursday night. We will have a part 2 of this conversation. Amelia will be back on the show, and she will have a friend with her from her group. I think who's coming on with you is going to be
Courtney. She's the other admin of the original admin of the page.
How about Wendy? Is Wendy coming on with you?
I don't know, but I can ask her.
Okay.
What's the name of the group?
Gino Forever.
It's a really good group. Yeah, check it out, Jake. It's called Gino Forever.
I'm looking it up right now.
Go for it. And by the way, we're live on Facebook right now. On Facebook and around the world, and on YouTube. We're live on YouTube. But it's an interesting thing, Amelia, that there are so many groups dedicated to Chris and Gino, both individually and together. You know, that speaks volumes for their popularity. If not that, it speaks volumes for their ability to work. You know. As wrestlers, for sure. I'll tell you what, wrestling could sure use more Chris Adams and more Gino Hernandez. That's for damn sure.
Oh, definitely.
Especially
just imagine what he would have been like as a wrestler if he would have still been alive. Instead of dying so young at the age of 29, he could have been as big as Ric Flair is.
Yeah.
Or was, a champion, 6, 7-time, 8-time world champion.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
Yes.
It really, really is. He has had a fascinating impact on people. Gino Hernandez is this kind of guy, this almost mythological figure. He's become a myth in his death. He's become like legend. It's a hell of a way to become a legend. But let's be honest, most legends are dead.
Yes.
You know, there were very few living legends, Larry Zbyszko and Bruno Sammartino among them. But who I was fortunate enough to know, by the way, and both of them. Larry's a dear friend of mine, and Bruno was a friend of mine in life. So, but the thing is interesting, though, is that in death, he becomes mythological. But also in death, he becomes more convoluted. It's the whole Gino thing has become one big giant cluster mess.
I think I joined the group.
How do you attempt to rectify fact from fiction? What steps do you take as an administrator of a group to try and separate factual information from nonsensical horseshit?
We just have to really it's just telling people, the truth and say, you know what, if you're not going to understand that that's the truth, then you just have to understand that you weren't there at the time and understand that, you weren't there at the time, and you have to understand that us adults were, even though we were younger at the time, but we did understand what was going on, and we still can, tell you, even though we were young, as I was saying before, we were young, but we understand what was going on at the time. Back then, that's what was drugs, and right now it's just so different. It's a different world.
It sure is.
I think I joined the group.
Sure is.
I think I joined that group.
Okay. I think somebody accepts you.
There you go, Jake. Fabulous.
Yes.
It's under my Facebook name is under Ellis John Hudson.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to have my Jake is a fake name. Ellis John Hudson is the real. I have to have Facebook under my real name. So
okay.
Sir Pesci says Jake is the retired champion. He cannot return to the ring.
I'm not a dude. I'm not a wrestler. Here's the thing. Number one. By the way, they want me to wrestle. They said they want me to wrestle a guy by the name of American Roughneck.
You're not wrestling anybody. Just get that out of your head.
But here's the thing. It's like anytime that I try to
look, let me make it real short and simple for you, okay? I bought you a washer and dryer.
Yeah,
I'm taking care of you, but I'm not paying your medical bills, okay? Let's just we're gonna stop it at medical bills, okay? I can't afford for you to get beat up because I can't afford to pay a hospital bill right now.
Yeah. So, and don't come to Florida because I'm not making your appointments for
exactly. By the way, Amelia, what state are you calling us from?
I'm actually in Florida.
You are in Florida, okay?
Yes.
So you are on East Coast time. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, Amelia, I am going to ask you to hang by here for just a second.
Okay.
Jake, I'm going to switch things up here a little bit. What I want to do is tell everybody that the first show of February, on February the 3rd, will be the long-anticipated return of the Refs Roundtable coming February. So, and Jake is looking forward to that.
Yeah, because, the thing, are we going to need ref shirts?
Well, no, but I have a surprise for people, and that this is why I wanted you to kind of be with me tonight here. Jake Hudson, Jammin' Jake Hudson, Jake the Snake Hudson, is going to be the host of the Refs Roundtable.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. I told you were going to get your own show. You just had to be patient, you fucker.
Yeah.
In other words, yes, he's getting a shirt.
Let me tell everybody, you can find
you heard that right, live.
You can find us on Facebook. We have a public page. It's Wrestling with the Future. We have a private group. Join the private group. You will find information in there and film clips and behind-the-scenes info you will not find on the public page. We also have a dedicated YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Wrestling with the Future. Join us there. And each and every Thursday night on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and around the world, as we continue with Jake the Snake Jammin' Jake Hudson, Amelia Chapman, I'm Mad Dog DeCipio saying, continue everyone to wrestle with the future. We'll see you next time, everybody.
It was a pleasure.
Take care.
Play the outro.
Sign us out, Jake. Take us home.
Take us on home. All right, here we go.